What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Have At It, episode 72. My name is Ben Cornett. I am back. It's been a little while since I've done this show, but that's life. It gets in the way. We very busy, especially this time of year. We've got the holidays coming up. Um, Man, 2024 just flew by fast. But I guess as you get older, you things just fly by. So just yesterday, it was summer. Now it's almost Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? But anyway, how's everybody doing? By the way, gave you a very shitty intro video um, that I made. I got to do a better job of editing stuff. But you know, hey, I'm not an editor. I don't claim to be great at doing the technology and stuff like that. But it is what it is. So I gave you a nice little intro video and put in that little picture of me 8 years old when I was celebrating the Dodgers World Series, the one in '88, and then we finally won it this year. I mean, I know we did in 2020, but that wasn't that was kind of different. Everything, the world changed at that time. We had COVID, we had to change the rules to how they played out the 2020 season, etc. Anyway, but this is the Dodgers' first full World Series win in almost 40 years, like 36 years. So it's been a great week for me as a Dodger fan, and a sports fan in general. What hasn't been a great week sports wise has been these guys. Um, we've lost two in a row now, sitting at 4-4 in the NFC South, second place. Again, I knew last week, I did the post game reaction last week, but I just want to reiterate that, the injuries, affected us. Still, we didn't play our best football, injuries or not. But going forward, you know, we got two games against two, you know, really good teams. This Monday night, the Kansas City Chiefs in KC, Monday Night Football. Um, Chiefs undefeated despite maybe not playing their best football, but you know, they did add DeAndre Hopkins to their team. That gives Patrick yet another weapon to utilize. So, and defensively for the Bucks right now, it's not been very good. Um, we surrendered 31 points last week, over 30 points against the Ravens the other night, Monday Night Football. Um, Kansas City, when they're on, offensively. So this is going to be a very difficult challenge for this Bucks team. Especially, we got reports today that Antoine Winfield got on the injured list as well. So that's kind of a big issue there. I think he'll still play, but you know, I'm sure he's not going to be 100%. Also, Bucky Irving is going to be dealing with a toe injury for the rest of the season. Sounds like turf toe. So that's going to be rough on him, especially if we're going to be using him a lot in the offense. Right now without Evans, without Godwin, you saw last week that there were times where we ran the ball well. But there was also times where you know the offense just didn't click. Baker Mayfield, you know, got pressured, threw a couple picks, so it was very, very disappointing to see. He's been struggling with that lately. Hopefully, that'll get turned around this week. Although it's going to be a very tall task because you got the Kansas City Chiefs, probably one of the best defensive teams in football. So they're definitely going to bring a lot of pressure. They're going to put that on the offensive line, and Baker's got to be smart with the football here. Can't have any turnovers. We got to have a good balance of offense, both running the ball and throwing it. Defensively, you know, we got to try and stop Mahomes. Well, let me rephrase that. We got to try to limit him in what he can do. Um, not have him go too crazy because he's one of those guys that he's just a special kind of quarterback that's going to make plays no matter what. You want to kind of limit what he does, you know. And at the same time, the offense for the Bucks, they got to score, and it can't just be field goals. It's got to be touchdowns. We got to run the ball good, like we did against Atlanta. Um, I'd like to see some play action pass. That'd be nice to see. They did pretty good with that with Rashad White last week. I thought he played his best game of the year, so that's a positive. Uh, get Sean Tucker more involved in the offense. McMillan, Palmer, and I thought the player of the game for the Bucks last week was Kate Otten, the tight end. So utilize the tight end position more. Cade can catch the ball. He's very athletic. Um, use him a lot because, again, this team's going to be limited on offense without our two best playmakers. So we got to find other ways. Players going to have to step up to help out, to fill in those absences. And those are the keys. Those are the keys of the game. Todd Bowles is going to have to really have his defense prepared. This is the best team in football. They're undefeated, and can any given Sunday, or in this case, any given Monday, anything can happen. I mean, look what happened last night. The Jets, we thought we were going to jet again, but they actually pulled it off, beat the Houston Texans. Their defense was solid, pressured CJ Stroud, the offensive line, not great for the Texans. So, yeah. So for the Bucks, this is a big game. I felt like last week we should have got this one. If this was the one game we were going to win, it should have been last week. It's a division game. We would have split the season series with the Falcons. Be tied for first place, but it didn't go that way. Now you got to play the Chiefs. Then you got to play the 49ers the following week. Then you got the bye week. So if we can grab one of these two games and go 5-5 before the bye week, then you get Mike Evans back into the fold because down the stretch you're gonna, play the Giants. You got the Saints at home. I think that's the last game of the year. You play Carolina twice. You got the Chargers, the Raiders, the Cowboys. So these are winnable games down the stretch for the Bucks, assuming everybody gets healthy. Well, there won't be a Chris Godwin, but if we can get pretty much everyone else healthy, there's no reason why we can't compete for a wild card spot, a playoff berth. Yes, the division may still be up for grabs, but like I said, if it comes down to tiebreakers, Atlanta's got it because they beat us twice, and so that's big. That's big. That's why I wanted this win last week, and it didn't happen. So now we got not much room for error because you look at what's going on right now. Let's say, for example, the NFC North. You got 4 teams that could make the playoffs out of there. And you only have 7 spots per conference. 4 division winners, 3 wild cards. So it's possible that the Bucks could be like 10-7 and miss the playoffs. It's very possible. I went over the schedule again. We still got the Cowboys. We got, they're going to be competing for a wild card spot. I know they're struggling, but they could, if they get healthy, they could, still come back this season. The NFC East, Washington's in first place. Philly's right there. Then you got in the NFC West. You look at the Niners, Seahawks, Cardinals are at 500. The Rams, if they get healthy at the right time, they could go on a roll. And so this is a very big stretch for the Buccaneers. If we can just get one of these games, Chiefs or the Niners, That would be really huge. Not only that, but by the break we could be 5-5 or possibly 6-4. You know, um, 6-4 would be great. 5-5 would it's doable. 4-6 going into the bye week, I would say that would be very, very difficult to. I'm being honest here, taking my fan cap off, not putting it back on. But you know what I mean. So 4-6, it would be very difficult for this team. They'd have to win pretty much 5 out of the 6 games remaining. That would be 9-8. Would that be enough for a wild card spot? Possibly. But again, as I mentioned before, that NFC North has a lot of teams. They're all 500 right now. And, Detroit and Green Bay play this weekend. They play each other this weekend. That's a big game, so that could go a long way. The NFC West, like I said, the Rams start getting hot. They could be a dangerous team. They could go on a roll. The Niners, you can't count them out. They're the defending NFC champions. They're banged up too, but they're going to get McCaffrey back supposedly pretty soon. So, Seattle, well, I don't think they're that great. They're still at 500. So, there's a lot of teams in this NFC conference that can get a wild card spot. So the Bucks got to try and get at least one of these 2 games. Very important because you go 4-6 before the bye week. That's going to be very tough to, with the remaining 6 games, you win those. You can get the 10 wins. That's probably what it's going to take for this team to make the playoffs. Now, again, the division, yes, it's still up for grabs. The Falcons, even, they got 5 wins, but really they're 2 ahead of us because they beat us twice. So we gotta get one of these. I wanted this one last week because it's a division game. It goes a long way, toward the end of the year, with tiebreakers and all those scenarios. So, yeah, right now we're 1-2 in the division. So we got to play. We got to play well down the stretch. There's really not a lot of margin for error. This is a, these next 2 games are gonna, even without Evans or Godwin, it's gonna see where we're at. And it starts with good quarterback play. The run game's got to be good, which it was last week. Defensively, we got to get turnovers. Could have had one last week. Well, we did. We had one. Could have had more if, we had better camera angles with Kyle Pitts. Obviously that ball, I don't think made cross the plane. Winfield made a great play on it. Unfortunately, we didn't get the break that we needed. And that's life sometimes, So, yeah, this is going to be very important for us to get these wins coming up. Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, here we are. Oh, man. Anyway, Blackie Lawless, thanks for tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. How you doing, man? Congrats, Ben, on the World Series. Yes, thank you very much, Blackie. It was a great World Series. We beat the Yankees in 5. I thought it would go a little farther than that. I thought we'd do it in 6. I thought we would clinch tonight, but I'll take it in 5 games. Very good series. And that 5th inning in Game 5 turned it around for us. We were down 5-0, and we came all the way back. The Yankees helped us out. Aaron Judge with the bobble the fly ball, and then a throw-in error by Volpe. Then you had Garrett Cole not covering first base on the ground ball, and we took advantage of it. Great teams take advantage of that, and we went on to win the World Series. So, yeah, I'm on cloud 9 right now. It's what a great moment, man. As a sports fan, as a Dodgers fan, we finally get that parade. We had that parade today in LA. Saw some of it, man. fans just really, really into it. It's great for the city. We didn't get that in 2020, obvious for obvious reasons because of the COVID year. There was, restrictions and bans. No people allowed out for the most part, so understandable. But now the Dodgers finally got that parade they deserve, and man, life's great right now. So yeah, I'm very happy. The Dodgers. I'm gonna have to update my wall a little bit. Got to get a championship banner and get a hat and a shirt. So I'll be doing that soon. Um. Anyway, some other stuff going on. The NFL. Looking at those games I talked about earlier, the Lions and Packers should be a very good game. Two really good teams, two really good defenses. Um, I picked the Lions to win that game, by the way. I think it's going to be a close game, but I like the Lions in this game. Colts Vikings could be interesting. They made the switch this week. Joe Flacco will now take Anthony Richardson's place as starting quarterback going forward. I like the move. You get a veteran in there who's done it all. He's been a Super Bowl champion with the Ravens. He's got that experience. Last year, look what he did with the Browns. When he got that phone call, he got off the couch, and Cleveland, I believe, was like 3-5, 3-6 before he started with them the rest of the year, and they made the postseason. So Joe Flacco, he's no joke, and the Colts could use that right now. They had a tough loss last week against Houston. They were swept by the Texans this year. So they're trying to compete for a wild card spot. And, Anthony Richardson, I mean, it's tough. You hate seeing somebody get benched, but when he said I'm tired, it's really not something you want to say. I mean, that's a big turnoff, especially for me as a fan. Can't do that. You just can't say that. Everybody's tired after a game. So you don't, to me, that just sends a bad message, and players aren't going to respect you. So hopefully he'll learn from that. He's been up and down. He's had injuries. Obviously last year he missed, most of last year with the shoulder injury. He missed a couple games this year. So it's been a very rough start for Anthony Richardson. Hopefully this young man can learn and try and get his spot back. But for right now, Joe Flacco's the guy, and if you're a Colts fan, he gives you some hope, that he could turn this thing around and help you guys get to the promised land. So yeah, Colts. Scott Taylor, thanks for tuning in. He says, with the win this week, the Rams could be in first place in the NFC West. Yep. They could be. Very well could be. I think they might be tied for first place because I believe Arizona beat you earlier in the year. So unless, I don't know how many, because Arizona has 2 division wins against Rams and 49ers. They haven't played Seattle yet, I don't believe. The Rams, you beat the 49ers. That's one of your wins. So if you beat Seattle, yeah, you and Arizona would have 2 division wins, but Arizona would be a little bit ahead of you because they beat you head to head right now. But you still got another game against them, so you could get them back, in that game. But yeah, I mean, you guys would be tied for first place. And like I said, if the Rams, Scott, if this team gets healthy, they got the talent to compete in the NFC. They really do. They got weapons. Kyren Williams is a great running back. Johnson played really well last week in the Thursday night game. That's huge. getting contributions from other guys other than Puka and Cooper Cup. So this team can get healthy. Defensively they're solid. But yeah, the Rams have a lot of promise. They can get healthy, get everybody up to speed. They can win some games. They can go on a run. So I'm not counting them out by any stretch. And that NFC West is up for grabs. It definitely is. The Niners are banged up right now. They got a bye week this week. Seattle's been up and down. Rams play the Seahawks this weekend. It's a big NFC West matchup. Arizona's got the Bears. That should be a sneaky good game. Arizona and Chicago. I took Arizona. Chicago, I'm sure, but I could see Chicago winning that game as well. So, it's going to be an interesting week in the NFL. Looking at some of these games as well. The Broncos Ravens is going to be an interesting game. I'm going Baltimore here. I think that loss to Cleveland, really put a bad taste in their mouth. That's what happens in division games. So, Cleveland's always played Baltimore tough, no matter how good or bad they've been. Jameis Winston, former Buccaneer quarterback, played a good game. Give him credit. And he's going to get another start. So that's probably who you should go with at this point. Jameis, he's been in the NFL. He's been a starter. He's capable of winning some games. Also capable of losing some games. So it's a coin flip with them every single week. But Watson wasn't getting it done for him. Again, he got hurt, unfortunately. I don't care how you feel about him. I don't care for him, but as a person, but as a player, you hate seeing that happen to anybody. So Cleveland has the Chargers. I like the Chargers this week. Defensively, they're very good. Jim Harbaugh's doing a good job coaching that team up. So I expect them to, really pressure Jameis Winston, make him uncomfortable in and out of the pocket. They're going to rely on their run game, with Gus Edwards. So it should be an interesting game there, but I got the Chargers winning that one. I do got the Ravens beating the Broncos. I know Denver's been playing really good the last few weeks. Defense has been really good. And they beat Carolina, handled them well. And speaking of Carolina, they traded Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. So the Ravens got another wide receiver. So that's going to help them this week. And so Deontay Johnson's going to be playing the Broncos 2 weeks in a row. So just like Devontae Adams, he played the Steelers 2 weeks in a row when he got to the Jets. So yeah, speaking of the Jets, last night they were able to beat the Texans. Again, I picked the Texans, but give the Jets credit. They actually played pretty good in the second half. But the first half wasn't great, but Devontae got a touchdown. Garrett Wilson probably got the catch of the year touchdown, the one-hander. I don't know what it is with people catching the ball with one hand at MetLife Stadium. Odell Beckham did it 10 years ago on that Sunday night game against Dallas. I think Beckham's was a little bit better because he went backwards like this, where Garrett Wilson kind of went sideways. Still, the Wilson touchdown was great. It was incredible. So yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, people can make great catches in that stadium. It's incredible. Scott Taylor, everyone took the Texans except Tracy. Yeah. Well, good. Good for Tracy, man. Good pick. Yeah. I took the Texans too. I thought it was just more because the Jets were going to be the Jets, but they actually, for once, played a decent game. So, and the Texans, I'm going to put them off my Super Bowl contenders list. That offensive line is brutal. CJ Stroud was just struggling behind that line. He made some good throws here and there, but he was pressured most of the night. And, the Jets, their defense is kind of mediocre. So if a mediocre defense can, get to CJ Stroud, then what would a great defense do? And that's, Green Bay did that. Minnesota did that. They put a lot of pressure on that offensive line, and they just couldn't recover. And you know, for the Texans, I mean, they got to clean that up. And I think in the offseason, they better draft an offensive lineman, try and get one in free agency, but they got to do something because your franchise quarterback can't keep taking a pounding like he has. I know, I understand. No Tank that, no Nico Collins, um, no Stephon Diggs. He's out for the year, unfortunately, with that torn ACL. So it's going to be tough sledding for the Texans. I still think they'll win the division, but I can't put them as a Super Bowl contender just because that offensive line it's struggling, and luckily they're not in a great division. Jacksonville's not very good. Colts are okay. They're hit or miss. Tennessee's trash. So they'll still win the division, but as far as how far they'll go in the postseason, I don't know if they'll go very far. That's my opinion. I thought they would beginning of the year, but to me it looks like a two-team race between the Chiefs and Ravens. So I don't know. Some other games. Speaking of Titans, Patriots, Titans. I can't believe they're actually showing that game on TV this week, even in the New England, Nashville markets. I think I took Tennessee in that one. I just flipped the coin, saying okay, landed on Tennessee. So, Patriots, I will say, have a pretty good defense. They'll keep the offense in it, but I don't know. I think Tennessee's just due for a win. I think being embarrassed by Detroit last week, I'm sure, I would think it would have kind of motivate this Titans team to go out there this week to, do a lot better. So we'll see. New Orleans at Carolina. Derek Carr is going to be back for the Saints supposedly, so I did take the Saints to win. Carolina. I mean, it's just a division game, so it could be closer than people think. Saints have just been decimated with injuries all year. But if they get Carr back, I guess at least against Carolina, I think they should be able to win that game. It might be close, but they should be able to take care of business. Jaguars and Eagles. I like Philly, but I think this is going to be a closer game than people think. This could be a trap game for Philly. Big win at Cincinnati last week. Looked very impressive. But Jacksonville not very good this year. Kept up with Green Bay, but lost it in the end. Lost it to, of all people, Brandon McManus, the former Jaguar kicker and now Packers kicker. Broke their hearts. So, and speaking of the Bengals, they got the Raiders this week. The injury report says T. Higgins could be doubtful for that game. It's kind of a blow. The Raiders again not very good. I don't know. I picked the Bengals, but who knows? That could be an upset too. Oh, we got Dolphins at Bills. I like Buffalo. It'll be a close game, but Buffalo's defense is playing really good right now. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but I do think they're good enough to win their division. So we'll see how that goes. They could win pretty much. Oh, Cowboys Falcons. Forgot about that one. I took Atlanta. I almost took Dallas. Dallas is very desperate. They need a win here to kind of save their season. It's been tough sledding now. Micah Parsons is out again, so is Deron Bland. Two defensive guys out again. So I'm taking Atlanta. I still think they're overrated. I know they beat us twice. beat the Bucks twice, but we should have won that first time on Thursday night. Second game, Baker didn't have those interceptions, and the defense made some plays. I mean, who knows, So Atlanta's every win's been by one possession, so they haven't really dominated anybody. but I could see the Falcons winning this game again, probably by one possession. So yeah, those are it, man. Those are pretty much all the game. Commanders and Giants. Great. What a play last weekend. Jaden Daniels to Hail Mary. Got the win. I still think, the Giants. It's got to be frustrating because they've been in a lot of games, and the one common denominator has been Daniel Jones. This guy just has a knack for throwing picks and turning the ball over. He is what's killing this Giants team. They got to draft a quarterback. Jones is done, in my opinion. He cannot be. He's not your future anymore. And it could probably cost Brian Daboll his job. I was discussing it with a friend at work today. Daboll, I think, is on the hot seat. Mainly because that first year, 2022, they made the playoffs. I believe they went like 9-8, got into the playoffs, won a playoff game against Minnesota, I believe it was. And ever since then they've struggled. And again, it's a lot of it has to do with the quarterback. It's not been good. And Daboll was brought in to help Daniel Jones. And I've never been a big fan of Daniel Jones, but they did make the playoffs their first year. He was their quarterback. So, it's been downhill ever since. And I don't know. This Giants team has got a lot of soul searching to do. Again, they've been in games, and I expect this to be a close game against Washington. It's a division game. They're going to be close. All division games are usually close. Look at Cleveland. They beat the Ravens last week. So upsets can happen. And it would not surprise me if the Giants actually beat the Commanders this week. Jaden's still dealing with the rib injury. But I am taking the Commanders in a close game. And they'll, have that showdown, I think, the following week with Dallas, I believe, or in a couple weeks. So, yeah, it's go time. A lot of division games this week. Dolphins, Bills, Saints, Panthers, Commanders, Giants, Lions, Packers, Rams, Seahawks. A lot of division games this week. So, and they're usually very good. So, the bye week, the Niners and Steelers on the bye. So, I believe next week the Steelers play the Ravens. So that's a big matchup. Steelers will be well rested. Russell Wilson looking pretty good, since taking over for Justin Fields. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see what comes out of that. That's pretty much all I got for this week. Like I said earlier, the Bucks. These next 2 weeks are going to be crucial. We got to get one of these, either the Chiefs or the 49ers. I would say more the 49ers because they're in the NFC. Playing the Chiefs out of conference, so but still, you never know. Any given Monday. But yeah, these next 2 weeks are going to be crucial for this team without Mike Evans. And then, like I said, when they get back from the bye week, in week 11, come back to week 12 against the Giants in New York or New Jersey. Mike Evans should be back. He should be ready to go. So we got to just do our best without him. Guys are going to have to step up. Kate Otten stepped up last week. Guys like Trey Palmer, Jalen McMillan, um, Miller. These guys got to step up. Help out Baker. You know, help this team score points. The running game's getting better, like Irving. Um, Rashad White. Use him in more screens. Um, Sean Tucker. He's been doing pretty good. So they got a nice 3 running back system there going. So it's very important for this team to utilize them and utilize them a lot. Help Baker out. The offensive line's going to have to play better. We can't have these pre-snap penalties have also hurt us. Tristan Wirf's really surprising me this year. He's had a lot of penalties, which very, very unusual of him. I know he moved to left tackle. That's a big position, but he's still capable. He's still one of the best in the league. So, I'm putting him at a high standard. Because I know he's that talented and can really make an impact on the game, especially that offensive line. So, Graham Barton, he's still learning. He's a rookie. He's still developing. He had some penalties last week. But I still love the upside. I still think he's going to be very special these next several years. So, just give him time. But, he's got to grow up quickly because, now you're facing very good teams. The Chiefs, 49ers, both defenses are really good. So this is a big test for him. And like I said, after the bye week, schedule loosens up a little better, a little lighter. You're at the Giants, still got to play Carolina twice. You got the Cowboys, Chargers, Raiders, and Saints. So most of those are winnable games. They're very winnable games, after the bye week. So we'll see what happens. Scott Taylor, Bucks are going to have a hard time playing the Chiefs in KC, in my opinion. Probably, more than likely. Especially when you don't have your best players. It's the defending 2-time Super Bowl champions back to back. Haven't lost yet, and they're a great team. They're a great team for a reason. I would say their defense is the best part of their game. Patrick Mahomes, he's struggling. He's tied with Baker for the most interceptions in the NFL. So how have they made that up? Their defense. They've been able to get stops. So Spagnuolo is a great defensive coordinator, does a great job, disguising his blitzes, knows when to bring the pressure, just has everybody always in place defensively, so they don't give you a lot. And you're going to be in for a fight. So that's what the Bucks are going to be in for. It's going to be a fight on Monday night. We'll see if they can prevail. So, that's really all I got for this week, man. I just want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks, Scott, Blackie, anybody else that's watching tonight, or will see this video later. I greatly appreciate that. And by the way, like, share, or follow on YouTube at Ben Cornett 9015. That's Ben Cornett 9015. I greatly appreciate that. I also do a show called Ben's Quick Picks. You can see that that video usually comes out every Wednesdays. I give you my picks for every week, straight up, no over-unders, stuff like that. It's just straight up picks. I'm 73-50 this year so far. It's been a rough year for me. I had a great year last year. This year it hasn't been too good, but there's still plenty of time to go. We got a lot of weeks ahead, so hopefully I can make up some ground. I'm just pretty much competing against myself at this point. So, like I said, we'll see. I'm pretty comfortable with who I picked this week. There's a couple games where I'm like, maybe I should have went this way instead of that way. Maybe I should have zigged instead of zagged. But it's too late now. They're already put in. Can't make any changes. So, yeah, I'm going to stick with what I got. So, anyway, that's Ben's Quick Picks. every Wednesdays. I usually drop the video right before the start of the week, the Thursday night game. Also, you can catch me on X at BennyBoy702. And if you're an Instagrammer, you can catch me on at Ben702 forever. So, and you're watching us in the Ben Zone as well, Facebook. So yeah, that is pretty much it. That's all I got for this week. I got to do more of these, try and get more of these going, have at it. But yeah, that's all I got for this week, guys. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. And again, give me a like, share, and subscribe. Greatly appreciated. We're on my YouTube channel, Ben Cornett 9015. Follow me on X, BennyBoy702. Facebook in the Ben Zone Facebook group, and on Instagram, Ben702 forever. And with that said, everybody, have a great weekend and have fun. Good luck to your teams this week. And that's all I got for this Friday night. So cheers. And we will see you next time right here on Have At It with me, Ben Cornett. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, everybody.